Line. Brought to you by General Tire. Sooner or later, you'll own Generals. Revell, the world's model maker. And by Budweiser Racing. It's a Bud race.
From New Richmond, Quebec, it's the Rally Baie de Chaleurs. Hi again, everybody. I'm Eric Thomas, and welcoming in on our telecast today, our rallying expert, Bruce Holly. Bruce, welcome.
Thank you, Eric.
Drizzle in the forecast, a little bit of sun, a little bit of rain, who knows? It's a mixed bag kind of a weekend here we're expecting as far as the forecast goes. Doesn't make any difference to competitors. They go rain or shine.
No, the weather has no bearing on it. The rally will run no matter what.
It's a staging area that's full of race cars. We've got three classes of cars here?
Yeah, we're looking at a performance rally which encompasses open class, production GT class, and production class.
Now, I think most of our race line viewers are familiar with what's known as a timed rally, but you said it's a performance rally. What's the difference?
In a performance rally, the rally teams are timed against the clock and timed against each other.
On race line, we talk about driver skill a lot. You know, we do stock car racing and drag racing. The unfortunate part of it is these rally drivers sort of get left behind, but I want to tell you something. Hurtling down a gravel road at well over 100 miles an hour, a road you've never seen before, and suddenly you get a direction from your co-driver to turn right. That's a special skill.
Teamwork is the most important part in a rally team.
It takes a special kind of a race car to do one of these courses as well. And for more on the technical aspect of what goes into these racing machines, let's go to John Massingberg.
If you like horsepower, this is the place to come. The full open competition class. Anything goes in this class. Let's take a look at Bruno Krajic's and Jeff Becker's Audi Quattro. Right up at the back, the dry sump oiling system is in the trunk. An oil cooler here to cool the engine oil. Moving down towards the driver's compartment, you've got a 6-point complete roll cage, window netting to keep the driver in the event of a rollover. Of course, a 5-point seatbelt harness, 5-speed transmission, all the gauges on the dashboard. Jeff Becker will be working the trip computer over on the other side. This car develops about 270 to 300 horsepower in a 5-cylinder turbocharged Audi engine. This car will make a ton of steam here today.
He comes in last night raving about the new General Tire limited warranty.
It's General's 48-month free replacement limited warranty, and you're going to be my official hostess.
I say a 4-year limited warranty on great General Tires, fine. But this hostess thing, forget it.
The Ameritech ST, newly designed with cool running, all-season wet and dry traction. See your dealer for more details.
And to think I missed aerobics for this.
Sooner or later, you'll own Generals.
Welcome back to New Richmond, Quebec, and the Rally Baie de Chaleurs. Eric Thomas driving and Bruce Holly in the co-pilot seat. What's happening now, Bruce?
Right here, we're at registration, Eric, where the teams are registering. We're following here Trish Sparrow, registering the McGear Sparrow team. They're giving their route books. Here we have Trish checking any changes that have been made in the route since the book has been printed.
Now, the cars and the crews are busy here, too, because each car has to be inspected, right?
That's correct. Every car has to be inspected. Here you're seeing they're checking for decibels, the minimum being, or the maximum being 85 decibels. Here they're coming in, they're checking for the brakes to make sure the brakes are functioning. And now they go through the car piece by piece, looking at safety equipment. Here they're checking the helmets. They're mandatory. They'll be checking to see that the lights at night work. The night lights work, very key.
Moving inside the cars, Bruce, safety, obviously the #1 aspect. Fire extinguisher, mandatory.
Here they're checking the triangle, reflective triangles needed for the nighttime safety purposes.
In case you get disabled on the course somewhere, you don't want anybody running into the back of you.
That's correct. They definitely have to do that. They check off the form. They sign it. Once everything is signed, they're on their way. The car goes in what they call parc fermé, and they cannot use the car until the rally actually starts.
So Tom McGear of Brampton appears to be ready.
Yeah, they do appear to be ready.
So the cars are all prepared. Time for a little homework, some paperwork, Bruce.
Yeah, here you've got 2 co-drivers going over the route book to check any special cautions that there may be.
You wouldn't want to come up on a surprise turn, especially in night driving like this.
No, night or day.
Well, the night driving is yet to come. Right now, let's get our lineup for the first round of competition in the Rally Baie de Chaleurs. The Audi Quattro, Bruno Krajic's and Jeff Becker in car #1 in the open class. In the Audi Quattro, Frank and Dan Sprongel, car #2. In the Mazda RX-7, the open category again, Tom McGear and Trish Sparrow in car number 3. You've got Peterson in car number 4, Poirier, Defoy, and Racine, and Alcaraz and Menegas, Vincent and Joyal, Matthews and Fogel, Whitehead and Partridge in car number 19 in the Toyota. Merrill and Hausil in car 20, and Duval and Levesque in another Toyota in car number 25. And you are riding with Krybich and Becker on the Revell Sony Raceline Handycam.
Yeah, right now we're on the first stage of the rally. Very fast part of the course, as you can see.
What kind of speeds here, Bruce?
They could be getting up to 90, 95 miles an hour right now.
And I think it's important in this kind of a speed, on this kind of a road, dirt obviously, that these guys have never seen this course before.
No, that's very important, and this is where the co-driver comes in. It's so important to have the co-driver there and telling you what to do.
Now, you really got to do a lot of the steering with the throttle, I would suspect, to get that back end to come around. Classic dirt track in style here, Bruce.
Yeah, especially in this type of car. So much horsepower in this Audi Quattro, and four-wheel drive. Krybich definitely is using the gas pedal.
Sprongel in their Audi Quattro.
Young team, 2 young brothers, second year rallying with the Audi Quattro. Very promising future.
Something to point out here, an advantage with four-wheel drive in the Audi Quattro.
Definitely an advantage over the two-wheel drive.
Now we're aboard with McGear and Sparrow in the Mazda RX-7.
We pick it up a little before where we met on the bridge, the last drivers that we saw through, the last team through. Tom, two-wheel drive. We'll probably see handling the corners a little differently as he comes around that bridge. Picking up speed here coming up the hill, and you can see the shifting that has to be involved in this.
Now, the co-driver, Trish Sparrow, Bruce, what is she looking for here as we travel along?
Well, right now she's looking for the next turn, but she's also trying to call the next turn 200 meters before it does occur.
So she has to anticipate when that turn is coming up and make sure she gives Tom McGear, the driver, enough notice to make that turn safely.
Yeah, it's very important. Tom, the driver in this case, has to commit to the turn before he gets to the turn.
I would imagine the longer these two people work together, the easier that system becomes.
It does get a lot easier. You get to know what to expect.
Nice broad slide through the turns. Get this guy a sprint car. Nice movement here.
Again, you've got the two-wheel drive, the power coming out of the rear wheels. That's the way he's got to take the turn.
Now, two-wheel drive compared to the four-wheel drive in the Audi Quattros, and he just got up that hill no problem at all.
Yeah. Here, right here, Tom was in the right gear to get up that hill, and that's a key, especially going uphill.
Power to weight would be critical in this kind of competition, I would
Very
think.
critical.
Continue to travel the course with Tom McGear and Trish Sparrow. And now, let's have a look at Peterson and Peterson and their Mazda GLC.
Very unusual car. You can see the spoiler on the back, the wing if you want. I'm not so sure it would help him in the shorter stages where there's low speeds.
I'm kind of wondering kind of downforce he's going to get at these kind of speeds with that wing there. Maybe a psychological ploy against the competition.
It may be. In some of the faster stages, it may help him.
Well, Volvo fans, here you go. Yoles and Maxwell in a classic rallying machine.
Well, this is a 69 Volvo, and this would be a great ad for Volvo, believe me.
Car number 5, two-wheel drive again, getting up that hill, no problem. Proper gear selection. Car number 6, Defoy and Racine in their Eagle Talon. And problems here, a little overdriving situation into the ditch. Well, the spectators like this a lot.
Yeah, they do. You can see him signaling to the spectators to push him out.
Oh, is that a good idea? I don't know. But now, look, see, the marshals are going to say, no, we're going to get him out of here.
Yeah, for insurance purposes, they will not allow the spectators to push him out.
Now, there's a few there offering a little bit of elbow grease to get the car dislodged from the ditch here. This is obviously eating up valuable seconds.
Yeah, but we're in the first stage of the rally, so it's not going to be very significant at this time.
So Defoy able to get it in the right direction, and salutes and applause from the crowd.
And he's on his way again as if nothing happened.
So around this corner, I wonder if it's kind of a good idea to have people go off course, look at a replay here to just get used to this whole location.
Yeah, it is, and it's a very popular location for watching the rally.
Let's have a look at Alcaraz and Menegas in car number 12 in the Mazda.
Alcaraz, a second-year rallyist, with a very, very, very good co-driver.
Any advantage or disadvantage to having a smaller car than the other competitors we've seen so far?
No, not really. It's a four-wheel drive car, so it does have its advantages versus the two-wheel.
Now, Vincent and Joyal, the Toyota Corolla, car 13.
Joyal and Vincent, very good, young, promising driver and co-driver. Again, a two-wheel drive car, and you can see how he swings the back end to bring her straight up.
Lovely. Well done. Boy, that was just about perfect.
That was just about perfect, is correct.
Matthews and Fogel in the Volkswagen Golf GTI, car 16.
Yeah, a young team from Quebec, one local guy, the driver, Ron Matthews.
Into the escape area here, Bruce. What happened?
They might have misread his instruction. The co-driver might have called it wrong, or the driver might have misheard him.
Not much of a runoff area there. Good thing they were well on the brakes before they got into severe problems down there. Now up the right direction and over the hill.
It's not the first time it's happened. It probably won't be the last time that'll run off there.
Well, rally fans come two-legged and four-legged, and everyone is enjoying the show out here at New Richmond, Quebec, in the Rally Baie de Chaleurs. Now, the Volvo Golf GTI production, car number 8, Bob Elliott and Terry Epp. In car number 9, Sylvain Vincent and Paul Turgeon, the Toyota Corolla. Car number 10, Barry Luttrell and Sandra Luttrell in the Ford Escort GT.
Production cars, 2,350 cc's below. Production car right out of the showroom with safety features added to it.
So about as close to strictly stock as you're going to get. Watch car 15, the Robertson and Robertson Toyota Corolla. As part of our entry field here, some promising rally drivers. Have a look at number 8, Elliott and F in the Volkswagen Golf.
Terry Epp, a very experienced driver, Canadian champion, North American champion.
Watch him get around this corner. What about weight of these cars compared to the ones we've seen up to this point? Lighter?
Much lighter than some of the other cars.
Kerr and Otterdy.
Quebec team, Bruno Kerr, first time driving, i.e. the first year he's driving. Used to be a co-driver.
So what about these cars? A little lighter than some of the other ones we've seen to this point.
Yeah, they are a little lighter than the other cars.
Seem to bounce over the bumps a little bit easier. Now you're on board with Robertson and Robertson. Car 15, the Toyota Corolla.
Robertson, local team, very popular. Should see when we come across the bridge here how popular they'll be yelling for him.
All right, let's have a ride with them across the bridge. Getting maybe a little bit too high in the gearing up that hill, a little slow up that ramp.
Yeah, I think he came out of that turn in a little too high of a gear.
You were talking about fan reaction. Are these drivers able to note what the spectators are doing? Watching Soudard and Randall now in the Dodge Omni. Are they aware of those spectators, or are they concentrating so much on the road they don't notice them?
Well, they'll tell you that they're concentrating so much that they can't see or hear him, but believe me, they're looking.
They sure do need that fan support now. A little bit of another overdriving situation.
Yeah, Soudard is the only female driver in the rally, which is a note that is important here.
Court and Court in their Volkswagen Golf, car 27.
Court and Court, again, a local team. The driver, Michel, a stunt driver, stock car dirt driver, knows these roads very well.
That would be an advantage. Now getting a little off course. They're over in the weeds. That's going to lose traction for them.
Well, you still might know the course, but you still got to drive it.
Good crowd on hand here in New Richmond, Quebec. In the Eagle Talon, some more competitors. Yves Barbe and Gilles Lacroix, car number 7. Andy Wass and Aline Dehan in the Mazda GTX. Car number 21, Jim and James Wilson. Barbe and Lacroix, let's have a ride with them.
Right here you can see Barbe and Lacroix, four-wheel drive. You can hear the co-driver calling the corners here.
Doing it en français, but it's all the same, left or right. They need those instructions.
You got that right.
You can hear the gravel and the stones banging on the bottom of the car.
Yeah, let's remember this is a four-wheel drive car, so it's picking up a lot more rocks, a lot more dirt as it's going down the road.
Wass and Dehan in the Mazda.
Dehan from New York, Andy Wass from New Jersey. Andy's the editor of Rally Magazine in the U.S.
A lot of rally driving going on down in New Jersey. All that concrete?
Yeah, there is. There are dirt roads down there, too.
Oh, I suppose there is. All right, Wilson and Wilson in the Mitsubishi, car number 21.
Yeah, this is the Mitsubishi Galant, first time running in North America for the car.
Into that corner, bit of a stutter step here, Bruce.
Yeah, you come over the crest here, and it's not a driver error, it's a co-driver error. What probably happened is the co-driver didn't call it soon enough for him.
All right, lights are coming on here in New Richmond, Quebec. Night driving yet to come. And back with Bruno Krivich in the Audi Quattro, car number 1.
One thing you got to remember, they've been through this course now once. They will know what to anticipate.
Now they know what's up over the crest of that hill. Let's watch and listen with Sprongel and Sprongel in the Audi.
Point 3, 90 right over bridge, 90 left.
Bruce, you've got to have those in-helmet intercom systems because you couldn't possibly hear over the roar of these cars with normal conversation.
No, especially the open class cars. You just could not hear at all.
Oh, the Sprongle's doing a nice job again, that four-wheel drive and familiarity, and the lights are coming on in the Rally Baie de Chaleurs in New Richmond, Quebec. I like this night driving stuff.
Yeah, it is exciting. A lot of the drivers prefer driving at night.
The Vincent brothers. Car number 9 with Sylvain. Car number 13 with brother Stéphane.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting situation where they're following each other, and you know the younger brother wants to catch the older brother.
Got to have those little bright lights to get through this kind of terrain.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just in these two cars, you saw one car with the lights and one without. It's a driver preference.
This one red can.
Right now, we're in a service stop where both the crews and drivers are checking if there's anything wrong with the car.
All right, let's get an update from John.
Well, after 3.5 hours in the wilds of eastern Quebec, the top 3 cars in the open class are now in. The number 3 Mazda of Tom McGear and Trish Sparrow has slipped into the number 4 position, but the car's all in one piece, no problems. The number 2 car of the Sprongle brothers, Frank and Daniel, they're complaining of being down on turbocharger boost, and that's going to affect them in the horsepower department. They're working on it right now. The big news is, though, the number 1 car, the Audi Quattro of Bruno Kreibich, has severe problems. He's crunched the number 2 gear in the transmission. He can go out tomorrow and use first, skip second, use third, fourth, and fifth. But it's going to slow him down a little bit. He's got about a 1:30 lead over the Sprongle brothers, but these young lions are going to be hot on his tail.
Okay, John, so the results after day 1. Kreibich, Sprongle, Alcaraz, McGear, and Poirier de Foix. Barb, Vincent, Yoles, the other Vincent brother, and Merrill in car number 10. We're back with more from New Richmond, Quebec on Raceline in just a moment. Welcome back to Raceline in the Rally Baie de Chaleurs from New Richmond, Quebec. Eric Thomas and Bruce Holly on hand. And you know, the drivers that we cover on Raceline have their own ways of prepping for an event. But for Richard and Michael Robertson, that's a little spa called the Aquamare Spa. It's about 20 miles down the road from the rally site. And what they do is get a little relaxation, get those muscles relaxed with some whirlpool and with some sauna. Gets those muscles relaxed. And Michael, does it work?
Oh yeah, it helps definitely because of just to be away from maybe a week before the rally. You're running around like crazy, getting everything done. There always seems to be something loose someplace, and then you're just you're stressed out before the event. So what we tried to do this year is get away from that a bit, have the car prepared and everything, and get away from that and just relax a little bit more and concentrate on the race. And oh yeah, it helps definitely. Yeah.
And that's the key to the whole thing. Just lay back, relax, and think of nothing but the race, rally ahead. So very important. I wouldn't be surprised to see more rally drivers and stock car drivers and drag racing competitors trying the same situation. Invigorated and refreshed. Michael and Richard ready to tackle the Rally Baie de Chaleurs. Look at the circuit RPM, 2.08 kilometers, Bruce Holly.
The entire stage is on dirt. We're looking right now at a very quick drive-through of the stage. Coming up here, they're going to enter the racetrack, the dirt oval track, that is, coming up on a right here, and then they're going to hit an immediate hairpin left. Right here, the driver doesn't know that he's got a downhill coming up, so the co-driver's preparing for that. Now, coming up right here on the right is an immediate downhill. Very key here that he sets himself up for the bottom of the turn, because he could flip the car there because he's coming down real fast.
The next challenge for New York's 67-year-old competitor, Bruno Kreibich.
Now let's remember, the first part of the stage is going uphill. The four-wheel drive will definitely have the advantage here because of power to all four wheels going uphill.
Currently in first place right now. Here's the competitor everyone is trying to catch. And this is a very loose and dusty surface here, Bruce. A lot of sand.
Very much sand. It is a stock car dirt track, and as you can see, the trail of dust following the car is unbelievable.
Well, I know we have some oval stock car competitors in our field here, and they're really going to find this going around this oval a little familiar. Alcaraz and Menegas in the Mazda. Starting out slow here because, don't forget, this is a four-wheel drive vehicle, but they've lost one half of the drivetrain.
That's correct. They've lost one half of the drivetrain, and that's going to affect them certainly coming up the hill and at the beginning at low speeds on the stage.
Really puts this car at a handicap.
Definitely puts it in a handicap. They've already lost one place and one position.
Back with Bruno Kreivik once again.
Notice the four-wheel drive, how he came around, swiftly took the turn, kept the car in a straight line to set up for the next turn.
It's also very important, too, I would think, Bruce, to keep the RPMs of these machines up to get the maximum portion of the power bend on the curve.
Yeah, you have to get the RPM up and keep it up there to get the total torque of the car.
Jean-Marc Alcaraz. Car number 3, Tom McGear.
We're on board Tom and Trish's car on the bumper cam, and here you can see the speed that they're actually going at. They're coming up the hill, over the crest, immediate right after the crest. Now they're building up speed here, but they've got to bear in mind they've got some turns coming up, and there's a lot of dirt there.
Currently riding in second place, as you saw.
This is a third to last stage, so Tom wants to keep a clean run here because right now they're sitting in second position, and it's very important that they don't lose any time here.
That's a bit of a wild bump, too, in that grassy embankment going up onto the dirt oval there.
Yeah, you've got to watch. If you take it too much on the inside, you'll flip the car over.
Well, this is like sprint car driving here at Knoxville or something.
It is, exactly. A lot of the drivers like it, not too much of it, because they have a chance to wind out and also let the car swing back and forth. Notice here, look at the dust. They're driving into their own dirt, or dust if you want.
So visibility is a concern in this particular stage.
It can become a definite concern, especially on the faster cars.
Oh, everybody back up here, please. Wow, spectators right against the rope as the number 3 of Tom McGear and Trish Sparrow goes flying around that corner.
Coming up here, there's going to be a hairpin left. Very key. Notice how Tom's setting it up and how the front end of the car goes towards the outside, and he swings the total back end to be able to set the car up straight. Notice he's going right into a straight line into the next 90 right.
Wow, all those dirt tracking problems, push and loose all at the same time.
It all comes back to haunt you or to work with you.
That is a very loose surface again, and there's grass there too. This is a real mixed bag.
Yeah, it is. You got to remember, that's only the third car through also.
Barb and Lacroix, car number 7, the Eagle Talon, again four-wheel drive.
Going to be an advantage here as the dirt gets loose. The four-wheel drives will gain an advantage on the two-wheel drives.
Yves Barbe from Laval, Quebec.
One of the things to remember is Yves used to drive a four-wheel drive GTX Mazda 323. A lot less horsepower than this Eagle Talon. I'm anxious to see how he's going to react on the dirt with it.
So he's not only learning the track, he's also learning how the car behaves, too.
He's definitely learning how the whole car... Look at the dust that's getting raised.
He's standing down near there. Let's have a ride with them on the Revell Sony Handycam on Raceline.
They're taking the hairpin right now.
Directions left or right again from the co-driver. Bring it on home. That is a rough ride.
Definitely a rough ride, and it's going to get worse as we get into the event.
In the Mitsubishi, Marilyn Hausil.
Four-wheel drive, equivalent of the Talon, should react the same way as the Talon.
Now, Frank Cunningham and Serge Boisvert in the Volkswagen Golf.
If you'll note at the bottom, the orange arrow, that's a directional arrow.
Oh, look at this, up on two wheels.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Coming down too fast, he's going to have to watch it.
A bicycle around there is a little bit dangerous. Peterson and Peterson in the Mazda GLC.
The team from Calgary is hanging in there, as they say. They're presently in 5th position and doing very well.
I don't know whether they get enough speed up here for that wing to do anything in the way of ground effects or downforce or not, but down they go into the turn.
Cars are bouncing around a lot more than they did before.
Now, what can they do with the suspension? Can they stiffen shocks, things like that?
In the open class, they can adjust and stiffen the shocks as they desire, depending on what course and what part of the stage they're on, or i.e. what part of the rally they're on.
Walter Peterson from Olds, Alberta, bringing it around, and there's a look from the Sony Revell wall cam as they go flying by.
Right now they're coming into the part of the stage where they're going to have to go downhill, so they're setting themselves up. I don't think the wing on the back is going to help them here.
Not really. It is a very, very loose surface.
Extremely loose.
There's a little red directional arrow. And he's losing some time here. Slow off the mark. Trouble finding gear, it sounded like.
Yeah, he did. He came down too high a gear and wasn't set up to take the rest of the turn to accelerate out.
Fisher and Thomas in the Dodge Omni GLH.
Notice how the American team is just bouncing around that corner.
Carl Fisher from Lynnborough, New Hampshire. Car number 23. Now, Kinoshita and Pressey in the Toyota Corolla car number 22. Harry Pressey has been involved in this sport a long, long time as a co-driver.
We're getting into the production cars. They're going to be a little slower, but you got to remember the capabilities of the car versus the faster cars are just as equivalent. They've got to face the same problems as the open cars because they're set up for that speed.
Darrell Whitehead, the driver from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and James Partridge from Lancaster, New York.
Real interesting point here. This is also a road racing car that they use, set up today for rallying.
So they can get different kinds of performance out of the same car. That's kind of handy. Saves on cost.
Exactly. It's an open car, therefore they can adjust it to whatever way they want.
Oh, those spectators awfully close to the rope. Back to car number 22.
Kinoshita came awful close to that ditch on the left-hand side of the road there.
Harry Pressey, the co-driver. And back with the 19, Darrell Whitehead and James Partridge. Into that rototiller situation again, Bruce, where the more cars travel over the surface, the more it gets churned up. Now, they call it the Volvo from hell. That's the skull and crossbones with a gravel of flying. Jan Yoles from Ithaca, New York, car number 5.
As we're getting into deeper ruts in this stage, this particular stage, you'll see that the lug tires will become an advantage for those that have them on right now.
Brian Maxwell is the co-driver from Toronto. And a look inside in the Sony Revell Raceline Handycam.
Again, you can see those cords hanging there.
Man, I find that distracting. I'm glad it doesn't distract the driver.
No, obviously not.
Now, that cord is getting in his face. That has to be a distraction. I'm telling you. I'd redesign that if I were them.
You notice he just pushed it out of his face right now.
Yeah, it took his hand off the wheel. I don't know if that's the best situation. However, they're comfortable with it, and that's what counts. And here they go.
Again, they're setting themselves up for that downhill.
Into the loose stuff again.
This is where it's going to be a lot harder for these type of cars and two-wheel drives as it gets looser.
This is tough. Down a hill and then that right-hand turn. At least it's going in the proper camber.
Exactly, but you still got to be set up properly.
And our number 1 driver, number 1 car, Bruno Kreibich. This is his last chance in the rally, his last run in the entire competition.
All he wants to do is keep it on the road.
And we're with McGear and Sparrow in their Mazda RX-7 on the Sony Revell Handycam.
We're in a situation now where every team just wants to stay in the position they're in now, drive the last stage, get through it, no damage to the car, and hopefully come home with the position that they've got they started the stage with.
Just try and cut down on the errors and get through it.
That's exactly it.
Now, McGear's got the situation where he's got a lot of horsepower and a lighter car. Would that allow him to skim across this loose stuff?
It will. Tom's got a lot of experience, and with the horsepower, you should be able to dance, if you want, over the ruts. The key here is Tom being able to swing the car out at the corner so he doesn't get caught in those ruts where they direct him where he doesn't want to go.
It's another good run for him. Boy, that stuff is really getting deep in the turns now, Bruce.
Yeah, in the last few cars they're going to be coming through, it's going to be critical for them that they be careful in those ruts.
Gravel and sand a-flying. Tom McGear and Trish Sparrow in car number 3, the Mazda RX-7.
Tom's coming into the second last corner right now.
You can see the way they bulldoze their way through that dirt.
Yeah, they're a tired crew, I'm sure.
Last couple of turns of the wheel, really fighting it, and the back end comes all the way around.
It's the lack of concentration, I think.
Straightening it back out. That's the error they wanted to avoid, but do I hear laughter here?
Yeah, I think you do. I think Trish is going to...
I do hear laughter. Brain fade maybe a little bit. It's been a long day. It's been a long rally. Getting disconnected. And Tom McGear and Trish Sparrow get set to dismount after their final run.
Well, nice play, McGear. You build up a little bit of a lead, and you want to be a showboat right at the end. A little over-anticipating there?
Yeah, well, what do you think of that? Got to put on a show for the spectators.
Well, not a bad way to end off. Barring the official results, it looks like you guys have finished in the #2 position.
Yeah, we're quite happy with that. We've had a few minor problems today. Everybody else in front of us had bigger problems, so the name of the game is to finish, so we're quite happy with second place.
Is that really what it boils down to, is minimizing the problems over the course of the weekend?
Basically, yeah, you have to save the car. It's got to make it all the way to the finish line. You can go real fast at the beginning, and you'll end up braking or going off the road and losing time. If you go slow and easy and consistent, you can generally make it to the finish with quite a good result.
Well, congratulations to both you and Trish.
Thanks very much.
Tom McGear pulls away. The rain starts to fall for the final run of the rally. The number 13 of Stefan Vincent and Eric Joyal, his co-driver. Wipers are flapping, and that's going to make things a little bit muckier for him, Bruce.
Yeah, I think a lot of the drivers and co-drivers are glad this is the last stage of the day, because if this was the first stage of the day, it'd be an entirely different rally.
Oh, it would have been a quagmire down there for sure, but he's doing a nice job, Stefan, in the rain in car number 13 in the Toyota Corolla.
Well, they're used to driving under all weather conditions, but they prefer not driving in the rain.
So the rain happened just one chapter too soon to make it a perfect rally as far as weather goes.
Well, it has been raining off and on, but overall the rally has been successful that way.
And the skies do open up for the last run of the day. Stefan Vincent, car number 13. So it's been a terrific rally, Baie de Chaleurs. We'll tally things up, give you the results on Raceline in a moment.
Well, it's been a great time here in New Richmond, Quebec for the rally, Bruce, and what better way to end it off than a lobster fest at the arena downtown tonight. The production classes, GT, were marvelous all weekend long.
Yeah, in the production class, Barbe and Lacroix, great day for them. They went out, third time out, won. Production, young drivers, Vincent Turgeon, again, a nice ride for them.
What impressed me most was the production cars ran almost as fast as the open cars. Bruno Kravitz, Jeff Becker in the open class were dominant all weekend long, despite problems with the second gear in the car. They didn't even have one. But the old master, he showed the way. Bruno Kravitz, 60-plus years old, won the open class. It was a marvelous weekend of racing here in New Richmond, Quebec. And on behalf of Bruce Hawley, Eric Thomas, and myself, John Massenberg, so long from Raceline. We'll see you next time around. Bruce, why don't we go downstairs and take care of this guy?
Yeah, let's do it.
And a mighty fine dinner by to wrap up the rally here in New Richmond, Quebec. So the tallies are in. The final results, 1 through 5, Krivik, McGear, Poirier, Dufoy, Barbe, and Alcaraz in minutes and seconds. Now, 6 through 10, Vincent, Cunningham, Merrill, Yoles, and Vincent, again, the brother of the Vincent who finished number 6 position, again in minutes and seconds. Some standouts, the Revell Model Performance driver of the rally, if you will. Well, here are the competitors, Maxwell and Yoles, but let's give it to the car, a 22-year-old Volvo that looks good and handles good and did just a fabulous job out here for these two guys. Let's do a little rally trivia here. PRN, Canada's Motorsport Authority. All right, let's see how well you know this sport. Who has won the Canadian Rally Championship the most times? Is it A, Walter Boyce, B, Taisto Hinonen, or C, Frank Sprungel? Got the answer? Well, of course, it's A and B. It's Taisto Hinonen and Walter Boyce have won it 5 times each.
Racing radio supplied by Midland Canada Limited with technical support by New Venture Communications, London, Ontario. All in-car and wall cameras supplied by Sony Canada, the makers of the Sony Handycam.
Raceline has been brought to you by General Tire. Sooner or later, you'll own Generals. Revell, the world's model maker. And by Budweiser Racing. It's a Bud race.